You're watching The Seven from WATE 6 on your side.
Good evening, I'm Bo Williams, and welcome to The Seven. Let's get a look at the big 7 stories that are happening right now. And topping the list for us tonight, people across East Tennessee rallying alongside an Anderson County Sheriff's deputy and his wife after the pair were struck by a pickup truck. WATE 6 on your side reporter Paige Weeks spoke with Nicole Schaffner, whose husband Lucas remains in the hospital fighting to survive.
Bo, it's been days of fears, tests, prayers, even a surgery as Lucas Schaffner continues fighting for his life. According to Nicole, her husband was seriously hurt as he saved her life from a speeding truck. He's now in the UT Medical Center where he's suffering from road rash, high blood pressure, and a high heart rate. Although he started to improve, he recently hit a roadblock.
The neurosurgeons call it storming, and so when that happens, his ICPs go up, his blood pressure, his heart rate, everything goes up. But unfortunately today we've kind of taken a step back. He's been storming since 5 a.m. this morning.
I also want to point out that Nicole is suffering from her own injuries. She had to get a CT scan, x-rays, and now she's forced to use crutches and wheelchairs to get around. We know a lot of people are invested in the Schaffner story. Of course, we'll continue following it to bring you updates. Reporting in Knoxville, Paige Weeks, WATE 6 on your side. Bo?
Paige, thank you. Next now on our list, a Knoxville man who has already been sentenced in connection with the January 6th riot is facing a new charge tonight. Court filings say a grand jury has now indicted Clifford Mateer of being a felon who illegally possessed firearms. That same document alleges that Mateer had 10 different guns. They varied in make and model, everything from a .22 Ruger pistol to a Springfield M1 Garand. Now, Mateer was sentenced to 60 days in prison, 3 years probation after he pled guilty to parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building back in April. He was also ordered to pay $500 in restitution. Now, when we spoke with Mateer 1 year ago, he called his arrest unnecessary. We'll, of course, continue to follow this new case against him. Next on the Big 7, we're continuing to follow what former President Trump is calling a raid on his Mar-A-Largo estate. The FBI search and investigation are related to the potential mishandling of classified documents. Lawmakers from both parties say they know little about the investigation, but Republicans on Capitol Hill were quick to react to the FBI's search of Mar-A-Lago.
I want to know what led to this. I think every Republican believes that the FBI, when it comes to Trump and other organizations, have lost their mind.
The Justice Department conducts investigations independently. The president was not briefed, was not aware of it. No one at the White House was given a heads up.
Because this is an ongoing investigation, the FBI is not commenting on the search, and Democrats say they are not involved. We should note this FBI search investigation are separate from the congressional investigation into the attack on the Capitol. Next now on the 7, a man accused of murder and child neglect is now out of jail on bond while he waits for his trial to start. Michael Gray Jr.'s bond was set at $100,000. This is according to the district attorney's office. Now, last year, a judge allowed Gray's case to be separated from his parents. Gray's attorney argued that statements from his parents show he had nothing to do with the death of a child. The child's remains were found buried at a home in Knox County, previously owned by Gray Jr. Michael Gray Sr. and Shirley Gray face charges in both Roane and Knox County in connection with the deaths of 2 of their adopted children. Remains of their adopted daughter were found at the couple's Roane County home. We'll, of course, continue to follow these cases for you. Continuing our list for you tonight, a Greene County inmate has been sentenced now to life in prison for a long list of drug and money laundering offenses. Charles Elsey Jr. was found guilty back in March of conspiracy to distribute more than 50 grams of meth and marijuana and for conspiracy to commit money laundering, all behind bars. We're told Elsey was previously serving a prison sentence for first-degree murder. While in prison, we're told he became the state president of the Brotherhood Forever, a Tennessee-based prison gang. According to a 5-year investigation by the Department of Homeland Security, Elsey led a drug trafficking organization from prison using smuggled cell phones. The trafficking went from California to Arizona to Tennessee. In addition to a life sentence, the judge ordered Elsey to forfeit more than $12 million, representing the illegal money he got from distributing drugs and laundering money. And rounding out the Big Seven for you, the historic Highlander Center's current leadership is against a bid now to put the center's library on the National Registry of Historic Places. As you may know, the Highlander Research and Education Center is steeped in history, hosting and helping train labor and civil rights leaders for decades. Even Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks joined in their mission. The center started in Grundy County before ending up in Newmarket, but Highlander no longer owns the land in Middle Tennessee and has no authority there. According to Ashley Henderson, the co-executive director, another organization has been helping to preserve the Grundy County location. Now the Highlander has filed a petition with the National Park Service opposing the nomination by the Tennessee Preservation Trust, saying it should be filed under them, not another organization.
We're really grateful that space now still exists and has been renovated by the Tennessee Preservation Trust. But now there's an attempt to get it put on the National Registry in our name without any conversation with us. This petition really is not an attempt to shame anyone. This petition is an attempt to tell the story correctly and in our own voices.
Henderson says they've had verbal conversations with the Tennessee Preservation Trust and have even offered to buy the land back so it can be put on the National Registry under the Highlander Center name. We tried today to get a statement from the Tennessee Preservation Trust with no luck, but we did manage to obtain the application for adding the Highlander Folk School Library to the National Register. And it goes on to say, quote, Highlander's guiding philosophies promoting civic engagement, democratic ideals, integration, and adult education that address social problems head-on catalyze the work of civil rights groups.